Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Live from Ramsey headquarters, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with my good friend and co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour, George Kamel. And we will be answering your questions. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. And we'll be answering your questions about your life, your money, relationships, career, anything and everything. Give us a call. At first, in Miami, we have Sally on the line. Hi, Sally. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for taking my call. I'll try to be quick with my question. My husband does well financially, but he tends to be a bit controlling with money. He's always taken the inheritance I've received each year and invested it in the stock market. Recently, I received about $50K, which will probably be the last bit of inheritance for a while. Since I'm a stay-at-home mom with no allowance, I'd like to keep this money in a separate savings account in my name only, but he's adamantly against this and wants me to give him the money to invest. He said he'll give me the monthly dividends as an allowance, but I was hoping for more freedom than that.
Oh, geez, Sally.
I don't like the word allowance used when it's not with your own child.
Right.
Is this how it's been your whole marriage?
Yeah, and sometimes I get an allowance and sometimes I don't.
Based on your behavior?
And you don't
Did you clean up your toys? I don't understand.
Do you have access to y'all's checking account just to go? Do you have like a debit card to go and spend?
I do. I use the credit card that's both of ours for gas and groceries. But if I need to like get a haircut or something, I use my debit card, and I have money in there that I get money from my mom sometimes.
Why are you getting money from your mom? Because what he's giving you isn't enough to cover the things that you want or need?
Right.
This
Sally,
is not okay.
Sally, how long have y'all been married?
15 years.
Okay. Does this feel weird to you?
Now that I say it out loud, it is.
Okay. Because it's very weird.
It's just financial abuse.
Well, it's gotten worse since we had our child. I have a 6-year-old, and I'm not able to put him in like swim lessons and stuff. And he does really well financially. We have about a $5 million net worth. He makes about $400K a month, or not a month, $400K a year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can convince him. And he says that I'm selfish to keep the money in a savings account and that I'll lose money to inflation.
Have you shown that you're financially irresponsible? Where did all of this come from?
He probably thinks I am, but I'm not. I shop at Ollie's Bargain Basement. I don't spend a lot of money.
Okay, so when you come to him and you say, we need to, have you ever asked, have you guys ever breached the conversation of, hey, we're going to have a budget and I'm going to put in exactly what I need to spend that stays within what you make, that we're not going crazy. We're not going deep into debt. We're not doing any of that. We're going to live within our means. And I have full access to our money and that this is what we're going to agree on and that you have a full say in it. Has there ever been any kind of conversation around those lines?
Kind of. I've asked for an allowance before, and he's done it for a couple months. But then, it's just not very much. It's like $400 to $500 a month.
And where's do you have access to see where he's spending money?
Yeah. I mean, I could look. He's very frugal. He just golfs a lot and does like small sports gambling, like a couple dollars here and there.
Are you sure it's just a couple of dollars?
I don't know. I mean, he hates to spend money, so.
Okay, well, there's some serious dysfunction in this, Sally. And is he controlling in other areas as well?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he been abusive?
No, not physically. No.
Not physically, but verbally.
Yeah, a bit manipulative and kind of condescending.
What are some of the words that he would use when he's kind of like in a fit when it comes to money? What kind of stuff does he say to you?
He says that I don't understand money, and he just kind of like yells and clenches his fists and is like, just says that I don't understand, and if I just put the money in a savings account, I'll just be like everyone else. And he said then I'll spend all the money, and then he said I'll come back to him and need more money. He thinks that I'm just going to blow through this $50,000 and then come back to him asking for money.
So there's a clear, he does not trust you when it comes to finances, and he thinks that you're not smart enough to even understand it.
Right. Which I
and there's a lot of gaslighting where he makes you think you're the crazy one.
Yeah. Yeah, Sally, no. So right now, from what you've given us in this call, I would have my own account and have your own money in. And then that's a very reasonable step for you. And then beyond that, Sally, what we see constantly is that money is a window into the relationship, right? That this really isn't a money issue. This is that you have you have a jerk of a husband who treats you, what sounds horrible, unlike a team, right? That a healthy marriage would represent, that we are in this together and I trust you, you trust me, and we're going to win and we're going to be excited about this. It is a downplaying and manipulating and downright abusive, you know what I mean? Of how he's controlling money and all of that. Like this is not, you're not in a healthy place, right? With your marriage at all. Yeah. And so that's what I would start to target, Sally. The money is going to be there for you as a tool if you need it, if you need to get out of this marriage. But what I would be pushing him towards is we need to go to marriage counseling ASAP, because I can't function like this anymore as a human being in this marriage. You know what I mean? Like it's horrible, Sally. You're in a really bad situation, and I want you to feel the weight of that you're not crazy. You're not crazy.
Thank you. I can't see the forest through the trees. It's been so long, but I appreciate that.
Do you have community around you, Sally? Friends, family, people that you can confide in?
Out of state, I do. So I'll be spending time with them this summer. So that will be nice, just with my son and I. So we'll have some time away for a little bit. This
inheritance, this is just yours, right? He has no legal right to this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Except he's my husband.
So I would keep it separate, and I would use that to get some counseling just for yourself right now. I don't know that he's willing. I hope he is one day.
And if he's not, Sally, this is a marriage that doesn't survive. I wouldn't want you. Right. I wouldn't want my sister to be in this kind of marriage long term. If he's not willing to do any work and to change what he's doing, this is not a good setup for your life, Sally.
You're being held financially captive.
Yeah, you are. That's exactly right. Yeah. And so normally when we talk about, money, we want to combine everything when we're married. But when there is, and we say this all the time, if there's any level of abuse, mistrust, addiction, anything that feels like you need safety, you need to create that for yourself. And Sally, this is it. And I would, again, this is to protect you. That's not the real issue. The real issue is that your marriage is not in a good spot, and you need to figure that out quickly for you and your son's sake.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Jade Warshaw. And look, if there's anybody who knows about student loan debt, it's me. My husband and I had $280,000 of it. But we were able to dig ourselves out, and you can too. If your student loan payment and interest rate are burying you, refinancing could be the solution. Now, I recommend contacting my friends at Laurel Road today. Through their online application, you can get an initial rate quote in less than 5 minutes. And if you have a more complex situation, you can schedule 30 minutes to talk to an actual human being. Thank goodness. Laurel Road makes it simple. There are no fees involved, and you could save thousands over the life of your loan. Remember, you should only refinance if it makes sense in your situation. So, if you're looking for a low rate or a shorter term so that you can pay off these student loans fast, talk to my friends at Laurel Road about their competitive interest rates and how you could actually get a lower rate by signing up for AutoPay. Listen, Nobody's coming to save you from your student loan debt. If you want it gone, you can't mess around. Go to laurelroad.com/Ramsey to find out more about student loan refinancing. Again, that's laurelroad.com/Ramsey.
Up next, we have Jake in Grand Rapids. Hi, Jake. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you doing?
We're doing great. How can we help?
Hi there. Yeah, so I'm fresh out of high school. I don't have any debt. I've never taken out any loans, and I'm curious that when I start to go look for a house 10 years down the line or whenever, how will I be able to get a mortgage without having any credit?
Oh, Jake, you were speaking my language. This is one of my favorite questions because it feels like a magic trick. You know, when people ask this question, they go, I need to build a credit. And I can go through how to rent a car without a credit score, renting an apartment, all the things. But the house is the one that gets people. So that tells me you already know there's a way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what have you found out in your research so far about how to buy a house without a credit score?
So I've heard like different things, and it doesn't really make sense to me. Like someone brought up like a manual underwrite, and I'm not really sure what that is. I don't really understand what they're talking about.
Perfect. So when you think about the credit score, this was invented in the 90s, and all it did was make it easier for lenders to kind of do a vibe check on the people they were lending money to, right? So Jake has a high score. Mm-hmm. Great. He's a reliable borrower. We know Jake's probably going to pay back. Well, back before credit scores existed, instead of automated underwriting through, computers and AI and credit scores, there was something called manual underwriting, where a real person like me sits down, looks at Jake's tax returns, his pay stubs, his previous payment history on his rent and utility bills and insurance, and go, oh, okay, Jake's a reliable person. He's going to pay back the money he borrowed. And so that's all manual underwriting is instead of relying on a credit score, it relies on a real person to look at your financial documentation.
Yeah, versus like a computer or technology doing it. It's a person. So manual versus not.
And a lot of mortgage companies, because they're truthfully just lazy, go, no, we don't do that. And so people think, wow, I can't get a mortgage without a credit score. But there's a lot of companies that will do it. And the main one that specializes in this is called Churchill Mortgage. They've been a partner of the Ramsey Show for over 3 decades now. And that's who I went through to get my last mortgage without a credit score. And they made it real easy. You'll have to supply things like, 12-month history of your savings and bank accounts, tax return for verification of income, rental payment history. So if you've rented an apartment or even from your family and you have an on-time payment documented every single month, that counts. And then, an alternative trade line like a cell phone bill or insurance bill that you paid regularly. So if you have all of that,
gotcha.
Plus you got a solid down payment, you're going to be in good shape. It's going to be kind of a nothing burger.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
So great. And you know what, Jake? I'll throw in, George, I want to give away one of your books.
Yes.
To Jake, Breaking Free from Broke, because he has a whole chapter, or multiple maybe even.
A whole chapter on credit scores specifically.
On this specifically. But Jake, you're at a great age, though, to how to take these principles and actually apply it to your life, because you're starting adulthood. I mean, like you're in it. And so this book is going to be probably the best guide to help you continue to live debt-free. What does it look like to honestly build wealth in a really healthy, solid way, not in like all these like shortcut ways that I feel like so many people are talking about. And
just avoiding the noise and confusion and traps out there. And Jake, you've done such a great job. I want to applaud you. If you just continue down this path, you're going to have so much money that credit scores will become irrelevant, because you don't need to go borrow money for a car loan, right? You're going to be able to pay cash for a used car.
Yeah.
So keep it up, man.
Yeah, that's great.
That's my encouragement to you. You're doing the things the right way. Hang on the line, and Emily will pick up. We'll get you that book.
All right. Up next, we have Derek in Salt Lake City. Hi, Derek. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my question is kind of regarding my girlfriend and her desire to work or not to work, really. Give you guys a little bit of background. So she's 26, still in college, working on her bachelor's degree, and her parents have a deal with all of their kids that as long as they're in school, they'll pay for all of their college and all of their living expenses until they either graduate or get married.
That's a wild situation.
Well, she's working on her bachelor's degree and she's 26. Has she been in since she's 18?
So she did take an 18-month service mission for her church, but other than that, she's been full-time school through summer.
And just getting a bachelor's still. This isn't like a master's or anything.
Nope, this is just her bachelor's degree.
Is she just stretching it out because she's got mommy and daddy's bank attached? I'm like, sweet, why ever leave school?
Why?
I'll be in school till I'm dead.
That's kind of my fear. So she has two older brothers in the same situation who are 31 and 29.
And they're still in school?
Still working on, also still in school, never worked.
Hey, parents, let this be
oh, man.
your memo.
Derek,
don't do this ever.
Derek, does she feel like a winner to you?
Not at this particular moment.
Yeah, I don't know how long this relationship's going to last because, man.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I didn't know how bad the situation was. I didn't know their work history or anything. Just recently found out that none of them have worked. Talked to her about that,
wild.
And we've been dating a year, so we started talking about marriage and finances, and this is when it all started to come up of, okay, what's the plan and what's her plan? And for now, it sounds like as soon as she gets married, either me or future husband is taking care of all expenses while she finishes school.
Yeah, I would get some clarity around all of this. Have you shared with her your concern of saying, hey, I'm kind of worried that you're just going to stay in school forever because your life's being funded? Have you kind of been honest with her?
Yeah, I've been honest with her, and that's why I reached out to you guys, because we were talking about this, and I work full-time. I have a very stable job and been doing that for a while, debt-free, kind of a whole 9 yards there.
Yeah.
But I asked her to get a part-time job during the summer next semester to kind of get some financial freedom away from her parents.
But if you're in her shoes, why would you work part-time?
Because hopefully you have the character to say, I'm an adult and I'm going to start making
that was your test to her.
Adult-like decisions. Now it's showing that her character isn't there.
Yeah, that was my tester to see if she was willing to put in some effort, because I want to make things work, but if I'm expected to take 100% of the financial burden for the next 50 years, I don't know if I can handle that.
Right. And it's not even like a situation, Derek, where, she's working and she's like, hey, but when I become a mom, I want to be full-time at home, and that I want my job to be that, right? I want to transfer home and be a full-time mom, but there's no initiative at all in who she is. And what always that fear is to me is that it starts to bleed into other areas of your life. You know what I mean? Of like, this procrastination,
just apathy,
or laziness, or like, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, man, yeah, it's not a lot of attractive qualities that come out of that. And I'm not saying that she needs to like go be some corporate woman climbing the ladder and working 80 hours a week. It's not even that, but it's just like, yeah, I want the dignity to have my own money. I'm 26, and I've been in school for what, 8 years?
I don't even know how you drag out a bachelor's degree for 8 years.
That's what I'm saying. Even
that's
if it was
honestly
a master's.
Impressive. Is she just taking like part-time classes or like flunking every time?
She's had to retake a lot of classes where she's
failed.
Says she wants to get into like a master's PhD program, and so she
yikes, dude.
Yeah, Derek.
Right. For those reasons, I'm out. I mean, I'm sure she's a wonderful person, but this is not someone I want to continue down the path with personally, based on what you told me.
Because what's so hard, Derek, when you get to this point of a relationship, and George knows this, he's married, and so am I. But it's like, you have the romantic side, right? You fall in love, they're attractive, you have chemistry, like all that stuff is great. But then what ends up kind of where like the rubber meets the road is when real life happens. And it's like, I've chosen someone in my life.
You want a partner in this life.
Yeah, to walk life with. And life isn't easy. And so there's a level of resilience you want in a partner. And
a little grit.
Yeah, and none of that is coming through right now. And I don't want to blame her for her brothers, but the whole family's
a lot of dysfunction happening.
That a 31-year-old man is still in school. Like, that's her brother. And that's who you're marrying into, too, Derek.
Who's hiring this guy? I see on your resume here you've been in school for 13 years and have yet to get a bachelor's degree. Sure, you get the job. Oh,
man, Derek.
I'm so sorry, Derek.
What do you think? What do you think?
What's your next step?
So that's my next step was to allow her some time to get a job, and if she wasn't willing to work, 15, 20 hours a week, it was kind of the end.
I think that's fair. I don't think that's unreasonable, and you're not, looking for her to make 100, it's like, oh, well, she's not making 100,000 a year. She's not, it's nothing to do with that. It's just the effort as a human and an adult in the world today.
Go hit play on Boys to Men, End of the Road, and grieve this relationship.
Hey, technology has changed a lot in the last 30 years. Now the hot topic is AI, and I understand that it might seem intimidating. But if you use AI the right way, it's just another tool to help you work smarter and faster, like a calculator or a cordless drill. So if you run a business, you'd better get on board with it before you get left behind. And NetSuite by Oracle offers AI-powered tools that help small businesses improve efficiency and make smarter decisions by bringing all their major business processes into one platform. That way there's one source of truth for the real-time data you need to take advantage of opportunities. Then you can forecast better, scale more efficiently, and streamline those manual tasks that take too long. So join the more than 41,000 businesses, including Ramsey Solutions, that rely on NetSuite to help tackle some of their biggest challenges. And right now you can download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's free at netsuite.com/Ramsey.
If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck and just keep wondering, where is all my money going? Our team is hosting a free budgeting training this month, so you will learn step-by-step on how to make and stick to an every dollar budget. And you get to ask all of your budgeting questions. We have a live Q&A with our coaches, and this is a great webinar to sign up for. So you can sign up for free at everydollar.com/webinar. Spots are limited, so make sure to check that out. All right, let's go to John in Aspen. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good. I feel like I have so many Dumb and Dumber jokes right now. I could start.
That's mostly what's happening in Rachel's brain is Dumb and Dumber quotes.
I know. But how can we help?
So I have a two-part question. I'm gearing up to buy my first home at 25. Have very little debt. I have a $330 truck payment, and then I owe a little less than $3,000 on credit cards, and I have a total of $15,000 available to me. So I'm in a good position. My girlfriend is moving to where I'm at here in October, and I'm curious on if I should wait to rent a little bit, see how we live together, and then buy a house. And then also, how do I know when I found the correct mortgage, or at least home loan lender?
Where do we start?
I was gonna say, there's some good questions.
What's the truck loan? What's actually left on the loan?
$16,000.
Okay.
And you say $30,000 in credit card? What did you say?
$3,000, right?
$3,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got $19,000 in consumer debt.
Yes.
And you have $15,000 in savings.
No, I have $15,000 available for credit, like available credit cards. So about 20% I'm using is my total credit usage.
Okay, so you have no money.
No, I have about $2,000 saved up.
So you have no money.
Okay.
Right? Because you have all this debt. So, you know what I mean? Like your liquid savings compared to your debt.
Yeah, it's a negative net worth with your debt.
Yep.
So that worries me, is that you think you're in a great place financially, and really, we have some work to do. We've seen a lot worse. You can clean this up pretty quick. What do you make a year?
About $52,000, and then at the end of the year, we get bonuses. And I do own a LLC, just side business, that typically brings in about $1,000 per job.
Okay, what do you make from that per year, would you say?
So just started it up, haven't even been a full year. So I would say this year, I'd be lucky if I hit 10,000.
Okay, so you probably bring in about 60,000 this year, give or take?
Yeah, I would say somewhere in that range.
Okay. So number one, I would focus on building some financial foundation before you even think about home ownership. And here's what that looks like. Getting completely consumer debt free. So paying off the truck completely, paying off the credit cards completely, not going into any more debt, and then building an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. And that might take you a year to do all of that.
Yep.
And so there's a prerequisite there. Then once we have that foundation, we can begin saving up for the down payment on top of that in a separate savings account.
Yeah, and the reason why we do that, John, is because what we find is home ownership is extremely expensive, right? So when the heating and air goes out, you have to take care of the yard. I mean, there's so much that goes into owning a home, and it's very expensive. And so when broke people go and buy homes, they become broker. Is what happens. They get in a really stressful spot. And so putting yourself in a position where you have such this zero risk, lots of money in the bank. So when things come up, it's like, oh, that broke. We'll just fix it here out of this cash that we have. We're not having to go deeper into debt for things that happen. We have the ability to be autonomous with our money. And that is a very stress-free way to live versus the opposite. And the opposite would be what many people do, John. They're in your situation and then they go and get a mortgage and get a home, and they're dating someone. They buy a house with the person they're dating, and then they look up in 3 years, they have no money, a relationship that's broken off, but the other person still is on the deed of the home and all of it, and it's an absolute mess, and they end up calling our show. So I'm glad you called when you did, because we want this to be way smoother than what we see a lot of people do. So doing those first two steps, like what George said, is key. And then saving up at least a 5% down payment, if not more, that would be great. And then walk him through, George, just kind of our formula when it comes to homeownership, because he's asking about the mortgage.
You said, what's the best mortgage to get for this? You want to focus on getting a conventional fixed rate mortgage. There's a lot of crappy mortgages out there. Conventional fixed rate is the way to go. And then you've heard of a 30-year mortgage, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a 15-year mortgage. And so that's going to increase the payment, but it gets you out of debt 15 years faster while saving you potentially 6 figures of interest based on home prices and the interest rates we're seeing out there. And so people go, well, I can't afford that. Well, that might mean you need more of a down payment. You need a bigger down payment. It might be a 10, 20, 30% down payment, which could take longer. And it also might mean we don't need the McMansion when we're a single guy or we just got married. Maybe that's a townhome or it's further out of the city. If you're in Aspen proper, I imagine home prices there are insane.
Very expensive.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So this is going to take a while, and there's no rule of law that says you have to own a home by 26 or else you're a failure. So if this takes you 3 years to save up the down payment, that's okay. But you want to make this house a blessing instead of a burden, and too many people rush into it because they think, I don't want to waste money on rent, and so they just jump into a house at all costs. So that's one thing to avoid. Stick to a 15-year fixed-rate conventional mortgage where the payment is no more than a quarter of your after-tax income. So think about your gross income, subtract the taxes, but then don't put in the, other deductions like healthcare and 401k. That doesn't count in that 25%. Just after tax income, keep that to around a quarter of your income so that you have margin to continue the other baby steps and have money to go on vacation and save up to upgrade things and pay off the mortgage early.
Oh, yeah. So pretty much is, keep on working and keep on, just trucking along and save up a good amount so I can actually be comfortable.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
And then just changing the mindset of, well, it's just a little bit of debt. Any single piece of debt in your life is stealing from your future. It's stealing from your paycheck. So I want you to look at debt like the villain and get rid of it, cut up the cards, and stick to using your own money. It changed how I handled money, John. Back in the day when I got out of debt, I cut up that card. I started spending way less. I realized the credit card was causing me to overspend because I was using someone else's money and paying it back later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the advice. I appreciate it.
Yep, for sure, John. Thanks so much. Thanks for the call. Yeah, I think that's what's hard. George is.
I feel like the fuddy-duddy sometimes. Don't you ever just want to grant someone their dreams and go for it?
You know what, John and Aspen, you go buy that house right now.
Add to cart with that house and go for it. But I care about John. A lot of people, they just want to tell John what he wants to hear.
For sure, yeah. And
which is you deserve it. You work hard. That's not a lot of truck payment. You could still afford a mortgage on top of that.
Yeah.
And it's just, we get the calls when they thought life was going to work out perfectly and now they're drowning in payments, or they moved in with the girlfriend and now the girlfriend is no longer the girlfriend.
That Ken and I think Jade took earlier this week. Maybe they were telling us that, deed to a house and they ended up breaking up and he stopped paying.
Oh, I was on that one.
Was that you? Okay.
Yep, I remember it very fondly.
Yes. So, I mean, it's just those situations. And
yeah, she moved out, but her name was on the deed and the mortgage, and they're no longer together, and it's getting foreclosed on now because he stopped paying.
That's it.
And we're like, this is it.
It's so
and she's like, well, we don't communicate. I'm like, well, you're going to have to start to because you guys got into this business transaction together. In the most expensive financial decision of your life.
I know. And what's always so funny is that the advice we give, we joke that we're weird.
Yes.
Because, for John and his situation, like that is so normal just to have a car payment, have some credit cards. I haven't hit the credit card limit. I'm way under. So I'm being responsible. Yes. Right in his head, he's like, I'm being responsible.
Having access to $15,000 of other people's money is different than having $15,000.
Yes. And not a big savings, all this, like that is normal. And that's why our advice usually on this show is the complete opposite of situation of what people are doing. It gets back to just this common sense approach, but it's the one that works that we see time and time again. So I'm glad he called.
Yes. I don't want John to be average. I don't want him to settle for that. Average sucks in America. The average 401k balance sucks. The average car payment sucks. You can do better and escape average and break free from broke if you're just willing to do some hard things for a short season. He's not far off from being completely debt-free with a fully funded emergency fund. 12 months of changing some habits, changing his mindset. He can do this stuff.
Hey, you guys, health insurance costs are only moving one way, and that way isn't down. And if higher costs aren't enough, the wait times to see your doctor are longer, and it's harder than ever to get anything approved through the bureaucracy. So, if you feel like the system is working against you, try a biblically based alternative to health insurance, Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry that's helped hundreds of thousands of families like yours take care of over $11 billion in medical bills since 1981. CHM has also helped them stay true to their values and avoid miles of red tape. And CHM support goes far beyond meeting financial needs. They also help meet spiritual needs. Members become part of a family who will pray with them and for them when they experience a medical event. So listen, y'all, there's a better way to take care of healthcare costs. CHM programs start as low as $98 a month. So learn more today and join at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget. Our question of the day is brought to you by Why Refi. When life happens and those private student loans go into default, Why Refi offers real responsibilities, not judgment. Why Refi will help you explore low fixed rate based loans on your unique situation, based on your unique situation. So go to whyrefi.com/Ramsey. That's the letter Y, REFY.com/Ramsey. May not be available in all states.
Today's question comes from Mason in Michigan. Is Dave's stance to only buy a cell phone in cash, or is he okay with putting it on an installment plan with a cell phone provider over 2 or 3 years? Couldn't tell you Dave's stance. I could guess Dave's stance, but we can give you George and Rachel's stance at least. I don't want to put words in the guy's mouth. He's not here to defend himself. But the simple answer is yes, only buy a cell phone in cash. An installment plan is effectively debt because you have to finish paying off the phone before you actually own it. And you're also locked into this contract for 2 or 3 years. So if anything happens, you want to switch, you want to change phones, well, you're kind of stuck in these handcuffs with that cell phone provider. And so I always recommend buying a phone in cash. And if you can't afford the brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max with 512 gigabytes, then don't buy it. You can buy a used phone. In fact, I just sold a used phone online.
Oh, you did?
Within a day. And I got great money for it.
Nice. And you were laughing at some guy's phone in the lobby.
It was like an iPhone 6. It was so vintage. It had the one lonely little lens.
We were taking pictures, and George, I never even noticed that stuff. George is like the Apple guy. And he's like, hey, is that the iPhone Model 4?
This is from a former Apple Store employee.
I know.
As you can tell.
And the guy in the lobby with the phone, he's doing great.
He's thriving.
He's living a great life.
Thriving.
He's fine. So you can buy a cheaper phone if you need to. all's going to be okay.
I feel like these installment plans also have caused like cell phone inflation because the cell phone companies, like we can charge whatever. They'll just put it on payments.
Yes.
So
totally.
it's part of the problem, and it causes you to get into a cycle where it's like a gateway drug to other payments.
Yeah.
If you're okay with this payment, why not buy now, pay later?
Right.
They promise 0% too.
Well, and the thing always is when you get stuck in a system where you're locked in and you cannot get out, that's not fun. Like that's not what you want to do. So that's essentially what debt is, and essentially what these kind of plans are. So
that's the simplest answer.
Good question.
And I hope he's buying an iPhone. Don't be an Android guy.
Oh, come on, George.
I'm not an elitist.
Such a judgmental. Do you know I had an Android?
Did you?
Yeah, I had a BlackBerry. This is back on 2007 or something, but it was a BlackBerry.
That doesn't count, does it?
And then
That's
Android.
not an Android.
No, then
then
an Android. I'm giving you my cell phone. I was a Nokia user, and then a BlackBerry, and then an Android for 2 years. And I swear I would never get an iPhone. I don't know why. I didn't like them. I didn't like the people that had them.
There we go. That's the real answer.
That was in like 2010.
And now you've changed. Now you are that person.
Now I'm that person, and I've been that person.
It's fine. I kid. I like to upset the Android people with their green bubbles. I don't need you in the group chat, all right? That's all I'm saying.
So
all
true.
Right.
Okay, let's go to Lauren in Kansas City. Hi, Lauren. Welcome to the show.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello. Hey. How can we help?
Okay, so my question is, should I take money out of my savings to start a small business to hopefully, make more money, to save more money? Because at this point, I think I'm on baby step 6. I just own a 3-bedroom condo, technically in Branson, Missouri, and I'm trying to pay that off as quickly as possible. But I'm literally working 80 hours a week to try to get ahead, and I'm killing myself.
Oh, girl.
So,
what are you doing for work, and what do you make?
Well, I am a property manager at a choice hotel, and I make $20 an hour, so that's not even $40,000 a year. And I'm a front desk agent at the Hilton, and that's $16 an hour. So I probably make about $34 a year if I'm lucky after taxes.
And you're legitimately working 2 full-time jobs?
Yes.
That's exhausting.
Right now, I'm at the Choice Hotel, and then I leave here at 2:30 to work 3 to 11.
What does the growth track look like in the hospitality world to where you can make $75K a year?
Well, you're wanting to start a small business is what...
You want to leave this industry completely?
Maybe not completely. I want to do if the business got busy enough, I would leave the hotel business. But if not, I just want to have extra income.
Sure.
I'm more passionate about events and entertainment, and mainly party planning.
So pitch us your small business idea. How much is it going to cost, and what's it going to be?
Okay, so I want to rent out photo backdrops, like the florals, like the pretty stuff people stand in front of to take pictures at, like bridal showers, baby showers, weddings, Mother's Day. And I do have a couple of connections, like with the Hilton and the convention center in town.
Because there's a lot of weddings and events.
Have you done these before, Lauren?
Yeah. I have, but it's just like I have 2 backdrops that I own personally.
Okay.
And I've rented them out a handful of times.
And how expensive? How much money can you make by doing that? Like if an event rents out one of your backdrops, how much are you making?
Well, depending on the backdrop, $200 for the most basic one, and like up to $400 depending on how fancy the backdrop is. But my issue is I only have 2 and they're not fancy. So if I invested in more backdrops, it's going to cost me anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 just to have a handful of backdrops.
Okay, and how much do you have in your savings?
$30,000.
30, nice. Are you single? Kids?
Yes. No children.
Okay.
No man.
Yeah. So is $25,000 a good emergency fund for you? Do you feel comfortable with that? It feels like a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And
yeah,
I was just trying to, because I only owe $54,000 on my condo, so I was trying to just get up to 60, pay it completely off, and then my $5,000 would be my emergency fund. But it was like, should I try to do the side gig or the side project business to make more money quicker without killing myself?
How much of this can you do on your own without hiring other people? Because you're kind of stuck trading your time, right? You got to bring the backdrop, set up the backdrop, break down the backdrop. You got to keep it local to where it's drivable, right?
Exactly. For the most part, I can do it all by myself. Now, in addition to the backdrop, I also do balloon arches, and those can be anywhere from $100 to
$300, depending on how much time it takes and how many balloons it takes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you had a great backdrop, Lauren, and you could charge $600 and you did one of those a week, I don't know how many parties are out there. That's $2,400. Yeah, that's $2,400 a month. I mean,
it'll be more popular during, like special events and holidays like Christmas, New Year's Eve.
Sure. Because ideally you could get to the place where this replaces the front desk job that you're making $30 for. And if you could do this instead, maybe still keep the other one, but replace at least one of these so that you're just working a few hours versus till 11 every night, at the front desk. That seems worth it to me. And it seems like it's been somewhat proven out, the fact that you
got connections, you've done this before, you've made money. So I would, if you're going to spend cash on this and go with a small investment up front with $3,000 to $5,000, I would go for it and see where you can take this thing and see how you might end up needing to hire someone out because you're working and can't be at every single event in all places at one time. But maybe you pay them, $15-20 an hour to go set it up and break it down, and you still make profit. And that way you don't have to be everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't take long. I mean, they're heavy and kind of annoying, but it literally takes me not even 30 minutes to set it up and, get it in place, and then 30 minutes to break it down and put it in my car.
That's great.
But also drive a Prius.
I was going to say, I feel like you're going to need a pretty big car to carry all these backdrops. So what I don't want you to do is I had to finance a $50,000 van to transport the backdrops. Yeah. So just be smart about it.
I say, and my car has been paid off for 9 years, so I'm going to let it, die on me.
Well, Lauren, you've been very smart. You don't have any consumer debt. You have a lot of savings. You're taking your time. You're working to pay off the condo. I mean, you're doing your gut so far is correct, what you've been doing. So, I trust you.
And maybe I'd say I'd work on saving up and cash flowing a SUV or van so you can use it for business and increase your income that way too.
Yeah, because I also wanted to not just do the backdrop, but make it pretty. Purchase a few benches, which I have a couple, but they're fold-up benches I can fit in the Prius.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I can't get couches and stuff because
that's a lot.
Too much
to the top.
For sure.
Just go slow
great,
and be smart about it. Use profits to reinvest in the business and start to grow this thing and see where it goes.
Yeah,
I'm for it.
People love a balloon arch these days, Lauren.
Ladies love a balloon arch.
You're in a great business.
The men could do without them.
Live from Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I am Rachel Cruze, hosting this hour with my good friend and best-selling author, George Kamel. You can also hear us on our other show, Smart Money Happy Hour, so make sure to check that one out. And we are taking your calls at 888-825-5225, talking about your money, your life, relationships, career. Just give us a call, and we are here to answer your questions. First up, we have Ray in New Jersey. Hi, Ray. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
My question for you today is, how do I convince my teenage son that day trading isn't really a good way to make money?
Oh.
What got him into day trading? Like an app or something?
Yeah. So he, as a kind of a background, he was talking to me recently about Cash App and the stocks in there. And so he actually has $42 in Cash App, and he's trying to convince me how this is a great idea to make lots of money. And if he had hundreds of dollars, that could turn into thousands, and just trying to...
And how old is he? When you say teenage, is it like 13 or 18?
He's 17, turning 18.
Well, he knows everything. What good are you at this point?
Correct.
I'll tell you this much. The best teacher that convinced me was my own stupidity when I was that age. So that might be the key to solving this, is you just let him keep doing it until he either becomes a multimillionaire and buys you a house, or goes completely broke, which at 17 he didn't have much to begin with, and he learns that the stove is hot. Let's not touch stoves anymore. That might be my strategy. Just seeing, I cover it in my book, Breaking Free from Broke. I have a whole chapter on investment traps, and I cover day trading because people see it as a tool to create wealth. And as I looked into day trading, here's what I found. One study found that 97% of day traders who persisted for more than 300 days lost money. So if he hasn't lost money yet, just give it time, and he will figure it out. And if he thinks, I'm going to be the 3% mom, his risk meter is broken. He doesn't have bills to pay, so why would he be concerned about losing the $50 that he had? You know what I mean? And so I think part of this is just him experiencing a little bit of pain, and that's hard to do as a parent. Of course, you don't want to see your kid experience pain or do something stupid. But as long as he's not leveraging money and borrowing a bunch of money, if he's just using his own fun money and this is what he wants to do, you know, it might be a good financial sort of learning to go, all right, I'm learning about how investments work. I'm learning about the risks of day trading. And eventually, hopefully he goes, been there, done that. I'm going to invest in something a little more proven, a little less volatile. That's my take. Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much, I think, Ray, at this point. You know, you can tell him all that you can, right? And then he's either going to have to choose to listen or not. Because the truth is, too, he's about to be 18, so he's going to be off on his own. So for the fact of you trying to, like...
You can take away his phone and say, I pay the phone bill and you're not going to get on these apps. But I think that's only going to cause him to want to
and I think that's not going to, like, give him the tools in life that he's going to need here in a few months when he goes off on his own. So, I think it's, you know, showing him the facts. And then running even, like if you go to RamseySolutions.com and our investment calculator and just say, hey, instead of day trading this money, what if you just put it in a mutual fund at a pretty much a guarantee rate of return of 10, 11%. And over, you know, the course of years, you got to just like kind of let it go. But what it'll grow to, you know, so there's ways to build wealth that are pretty guaranteed.
But that involves patience and delayed gratification, which is something no 17-year-old has.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is exactly what I think they prey on people that love quick results, high risk. And some people are just wired that way. I mean, they really are. And so it does take a level of maturity and discipline to say, you know what, if I'm going to build wealth the right way, that's going to sustain me long term, it's not these risky type of investments. And so, yeah, I think he may just kind of have to learn that, Ray. I hate to say it.
Right.
But
you can play some calls from the Ramsey Show. We've taken them where people lost $30,000, $150,000, even $300,000 day trading.
And, you know, and with him, I'm not a mom of teenagers. My oldest is 10. So you are way on the further train of this, Ray, than I am as a parent. But it is funny, even my kids, you know, you see parts of them and their personality, which if directed the right way is wonderful. So like his tenacity and the thought that he even wants to like make money doing something. We took a call of someone who's 31 years old and still in school trying to get their bachelor's degree 10 years later. And you're like, oh my God, will you please get a job? Like,
his curiosity actually bodes well for him.
Yeah, if it's directed in the right way. The negative way, which I probably would tell him, is you need to have a lot of caution around this, because this is the same type of mentality that gets into gambling. You know, I mean, it can get into a lot, because you can get in over your head really, really fast thinking, oh, just another $100 and I promise I can remake it, right? It's that
and then the
feeling.
sunk cost fallacy of, well, I'm really far down, I need to get back up.
Yes. So that's the negative side of all of this, that I would, as a parent, probably just say, this is what I see, and this can be directed in a really healthy, amazing way. We just need to direct it the right way.
Direct it toward, hey, let's open you a Roth IRA and get you working and throw some income in there. And that can be a healthy way to channel this energy of him wanting to learn and grow and build wealth without losing his hard-earned money.
Well, you know what? I mean, honestly, right? Even a high-yield savings, something that maybe he can get to. You know, a Roth isn't a bad idea by any means, but you can't touch that till you're 59 and a half. But maybe something that he can like see a little bit of growth. I don't know. Yeah, that he can kind of play with. I think is great. But again, it's low risk. It's not great reward, because usually low risk is longer periods of time of patience. So you're not going to get this quick hit of stuff. But I don't know.
Think about what apps are designed to do. They're designed to get you to open them back up. And so that's what Cash App is doing. They're just like Robinhood and M1 and all these flashy apps. They're getting young people to try to have a little notification that says, hey, come back and make a trade. You can make some serious money. Hey, we'll give you a little discount. We'll give you a free trade. And all of that is enticing young people to make really risky financial decisions under the guise of entertainment.
Right.
That's the scariest part. So, Ray, I'm going to send you a copy of my book, Breaking Free from Broke, to give to him. And if he'd prefer the audiobook, let our team know. We can get that to him. And just have him read the Investment Traps chapter and have a conversation about it. You don't need to be heavy-handed here. Just say, hey, would you read this and let me know what you think?
Yeah.
And he might say, this guy's an idiot. I know what I'm doing. And he wouldn't be the first one.
That George Kamel.
That's a Tuesday for me.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
But I'm just not interested in losing money at this stage of my life. And I think you kind of need responsibility and bills to feel that a little more.
Right, yes.
Versus being under mom and dad's roof. I was spending every dollar I made when I lived with my parents.
Oh, sure. Yes. Yeah.
And I wasn't as smart as her son.
That's right. Totally.
Just buying music
I know.
gear.
And I think that's it, too. I mean, I even remember me as a kid. Mom and dad, that is one place that they did well. They let us make mistakes with money. I mean, and by that meaning, like, spending on stupid stuff.
Yeah, not going into crippling debt.
No,
but just,
no. And they were never...
like helicopter controlling.
Overly controlling parents with that. I mean, they really did. And then, I mean, I was the one that always spent everything. It'd be like the 18th of the month. And I was like, hi, I need some more money for the rest of the month. And they were like, well, that's what your job is for. Go make some money, Rachel. But you just kind of learn. It's like a trial and error, especially in your teenage years, And I think that's a gift to give our kids. I do think one of the mistakes with parenting recently is they are such either helicopter parents controlling every move or the snowplow parenting where they
smooth it out
so that there's no bumps in the road. You have no hardship. You don't feel any pain. Life is easy and beautiful. And that's what I want as a parent for you. And that is damaging too. So it is a hard balance. But Ray, he sounds like he has some good tenacity. So we'll just channel it in the right way and he'll be great.
That's right.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. More and more people are becoming aware of the need for mental and emotional health resources. But over a quarter of those people still say they avoid getting therapy due to the fear of judgment. I know because I've been there. I've sat with hurting people for years, and a lot of folks are scared to take that next step. So listen, when people won't get help, it doesn't just affect them. It impacts everybody around them, their families, their workplaces, the entire community. The world is better when people are healthy and whole. So if you're thinking about trying therapy, contact my friends at BetterHelp. BetterHelp is 100% online therapy, so it's affordable and convenient for your schedule. They have a network of more than 30,000 licensed therapists with a wide range of specialties. And BetterHelp has over 10 years of experience matching people with the therapist that's just right for them. So to get started, just fill out a short online survey to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time. It's easy and it doesn't cost any extra money. Listen, good folks, we're all better with help. Visit BetterHelp.com/Ramsey Radio to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Ramsey Radio.
The growth of the Ramsey Show has been incredible over the last really 2 years on podcast and YouTube. And of course, those of you listening live on the radio. And so we appreciate that so much because so much of that growth comes from you guys sharing the show with friends, with family. So keep that up for us because we want to continue to grow this show so that people learn how to handle their money. You know, money is one of the most stressful parts of people's lives. So if you can have a solution and some instruction and guidance around this, that's why we do this show, is for people to learn and understand how much their behavior change causes them to win, but also the head knowledge of what to actually do. And so we want that hope for so many people out there, and even more that are just listening today. So make sure to share. If there's a great clip or an episode that you love, make sure to share it with a friend. Also leave a review, hit subscribe too, because that helps us as well. So we really appreciate your support, you guys. We are here for y'all. So thanks so much for listening and watching. All right, let's go to Quan in Tallahassee, Florida. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hey, good afternoon. I'm so glad I made it on the line with you guys.
Oh, I'm so glad you called. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm 44. I am in the process of getting a divorce. I have 3 boys. Put your seatbelt on.
I'm
I have
sorry.
3 boys. And No, it's all good. It's a happy occasion.
Oh,
I need all hands on deck, though. I am in a lot of debt. In total, about $38,000 in consumer debt, $74,000 in student loan debt. We have our marital home that's got a mortgage on it and a $250,000 mortgage remaining, and it's about worth about $405 if we sell it. We have a premarital home, a townhouse that we had rented. It is got a $104,000 mortgage on it, and fair market value about $257,000. And we also have a HELOC on the marital home, $24,000.
Okay.
So there are a few curveballs here, though. Both mortgages, my name is on both mortgages. Our names are on both deeds. Another curveball is we just had mold in that townhouse in the rental. So the tenants have since vacated, and and the Florida insurance company has refused to pay for the mold. So I am paying for that now. So I had to pay for mold remediation, and I'll be doing that until January 2026 monthly. They worked with me. But, wow, this is loaded.
Yeah.
I left my marital home January 1st, and I got an apartment or a townhouse, a rental, $1,825 a month with me and my 3 boys. My husband is refusing to sell the marital home, which would give us money in our pocket.
Who's going to live there?
He has been saying he wants to stay there.
So he's going to take over the mortgage? He's going to refinance it into his name solely?
Yeah. No, we went through all of that. He can't. He does not.
Then he can't keep this house.
Yes.
So he's saying, no, I'm not going to sell it, and yes, you're going to stay in the mortgage even after we're divorced? That's insane.
It is insane.
You're going to need a judge to tell him he can't do that.
Yeah.
Have you guys gone through the divorce process already?
No.
Okay.
We're in it. We're about to go to mediation next month.
Okay.
And so, yes, I told my attorney to please rush the sale of that house because, another curveball, my first mortgage company or whatever, Wells Fargo servicer, it's headed to foreclosure. And so the company that has taken over the mortgage now within the past month or so, they have offered a loan modification agreement, and as long as he pays $24.16 monthly for the next 3 months, then they'll be able to draw up a real modification agreement. And he's saying, "Oh, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it." Well, the problem is his income is inconsistent or sketchy. That he is a food truck operator and owner.
What's your income?
Mine, I'm netting about $8,100 a month.
Great.
So it's good. But I just haven't been able to enjoy the fruits of my
right. There's been a lot of stress and
in quite a long time.
Yep. Well, I do wonder, once this goes to court, the divorce, they're going to have to split your assets. And so the house, it's going to have to come down to either him paying you the remaining
He's going to
have
to buy you out.
Yeah, he'll buy you out, but I don't think he has the money to do that.
Which will then force the
it's
sale.
going to force the sale of the home. Yeah, so I do wonder,
Nor is he tax compliant, so that's another curveball.
What was that? He's not tax compliant?
Right, for the last
That's a nice way to say he hasn't been paying his taxes?
Correct.
Okay, how much does he owe in IRS debt?
I'm not really sure. When I left,
and is this your debt too?
No.
So you guys weren't filing jointly?
we were going to, but we didn't. We had delayed the taxes. And so now when I left, I did go ahead and do my taxes on my own, and I filed separately.
Okay.
Whew. Man.
A lot going on here.
Also,
Yeah.
I can tell you what I would do in your shoes, Quan. I would sell both properties at all costs.
I have one more caveat.
Okay.
One more. Okay, so the tenants are out.
Good.
The mold is gone. The room is messed up. The room in the bathroom, they have, it's gutted. And I have already sent a letter to my apartments. I'm breaking my lease. I'm thinking it's best to move back into that townhouse so I don't have this $18.25 a month rental to pay for. Also, I don't have a functioning car. I rode out my 2004 Honda Accord until it just quit on me, and now I'm renting a vehicle from my aunt for $190 a month. It's doing its job for the moment, but I do need a vehicle.
Okay, well, the 4 walls, if we look at just the basics for you, is food, shelter, utilities, transportation. So we need these 4 just to get you some stability. So the home, I would probably move back into the condo that you own. So you're, that's great. If you want to do that.
What's the payment on that?
$15.80 a month.
And you're paying what right now?
Right now, I'm $18.25 in a rental.
Yeah, so it's cheaper. Okay.
A little cheaper. Mm-hmm. But what if you just sold that rental? You could net $135,000 off of that.
Well, his name's on the deed.
What?
Okay. But we're going to force the sale of that in the divorce because he can't afford that.
Yeah, so both these properties, Quan, would need to sell.
That's going to simplify your life. You're going to net about $270,000 if you sell both of these properties, which will clean up your debt and still give you $130,000 on the other side.
And split in half, right? He'll take half of that.
Yeah, whatever the court decides is equitable here. Because if it's a premarital asset, I don't know how they're going to view the rental. Mm-hmm. But if his name's on the deed, that will change things. So again, I'm not your lawyer. I would work with them to figure out how this is all going to go down. But until then, it's just a lot of speculation and gyration. So to Rachel's point, focus on stability right now. Cover those 4 walls and try to just liquidate everything you can to get to some stability and get rid of this debt.
If you hold on the line, Emily's going to pick up and we'll get you a financial coach for free on us just to walk through hopefully the early parts of this, divorce settlement to be able to get you in the place that you need to get. So Emily or Kelly are going to pick up and we'll help get you connected to a financial coach. I'm so sorry you're going through this, Gwen.
I've been helping people get out of debt and change their lives for over 30 years. So I know change isn't always easy, but it's worth it. And here's change that's actually easy and worth it. Switching to Boost Mobile. Boost gives you nationwide 5G coverage for reliable calls and streaming, and their plans start at just $25 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. With Boost Mobile, there's no junk fees, no contracts, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. Plus, their customer service team is made up of real people, not robots. So switching is easy. So go to boostmobile.com/Ramsey. That's boostmobile.com/Ramsey.
One of the ups and downs of the financial world, George, in the past recent years has been the housing market.
Yep.
Man, it's been
the elephant in the room.
I shouldn't say ups and downs. It's kind of just been up. I guess
it's just been like a stagnant, scummy pond of just like make something happen. Let's see some movement
here. So hard, I know. So an article from USA Today came out, and it says, "Is it finally a buyer's market? What to know about home prices outlook?"
Here we go. Prices surged during the pandemic, up roughly 50% over the last 5 years, and mortgage rates hit rock bottom. Americans reconsidered where they wanted to live during that time. Well, all these gains have had consequences. Homeowners are sitting on record levels of home equity, but it's increasingly challenging for buyers, especially the first-time home buyers, to break into the market. But now prices, as they say, are falling back to earth and may continue to do so. So this is not a crash, but we're sort of getting back to reality instead of the inflated prices that we've seen. So the Mortgage Bankers Association expects prices to rise only 1.3% in 2025, and Fannie Mae economists forecast a 4% price gain. So it's worth noting many analysts have predicted a similar trend in the past, only to see a sharp imbalance between demand and available supply, keeping prices elevated. So I think that's kind of what's been happening is people are now they're like, all right, fine, we're ready to list our house. And so the market does have more supply than it used to.
Yes, yeah.
But there's not quite demand meeting it, which would cause prices to fall.
That's right. Well, Realtor.com, their data shows that in April, there were 959,251 listings that were active, and that is 30% higher than April of last year. So 30% more houses sitting on the market, which again, for buyers out there, that means you actually can negotiate. Because for a while, I know at least in our area, George, people were bidding to buy a house. Like they were one of 20 people sitting there being like, we all want this house. Who's going to take the highest offer? And now
you just got to sit back and watch all these offers roll in. And now you're like, well, someone maybe want to look at our house in the next week?
Yeah, that's right. Anyone want to make an offer?
So what's happening is you list the house and then a month in you go, all right, we got to lower the price by $10,000, $20,000 until finally you have a buyer. And so they're saying it's too soon to call this a buyer's market, and experts like HEP caution that the national housing market is in fact increasingly local, which is a great reminder of, well, this happened in my town. Well, your town might be a real hot area where this is happening, and some towns may not be experiencing this at all. So it's hard to say across the board it's a buyer's market. But Realtor.com data.
Yeah, they're only rising, again, 1.3%, where in past years it's been 4.3%. So
yeah. The Realtor.com data is showing that more sellers are making price cuts, which is a signal that we're heading towards a buyer's market.
There you go. Well, if you are looking to buy or sell a home, make sure to check out one of our Ramsey Trusted Pros because they can help you when it comes to buying and selling, because all of that's a really big deal. And there's a lot of clickbait headlines out there and confusing data. And so we're seeing, though, it's interesting, the median home prices went up slightly last month to $430,000. That's the median price of a home.
So right in the middle, smallest to largest in the list.
In America, that's right. So if you want to know more about the housing market trends and to even get connected with an agent and some other free tools around real estate, go to RamseySolutions.com/market, and we have tons of information there for you. Because again, buying and selling a home, it's one of the largest purchases or sells that you make in your life. And so making sure that you do that well with a lot of knowledge. So speaking of homes, we're going to go to Nick in Champaign, Illinois. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
Yes, absolutely. How can we help?
So here's my situation and my question. I want to know if I should buy a house in Williamson County, Tennessee. The background is I currently own a home that's worth about $500,000. I owe $90,000 still on it. I have $60,000 in the bank that I could put towards that if I wanted to. My salary is $292,000 a year, and that's all the debt that I have. So I'm currently on baby step number six. However, I'm wanting to get out of Illinois and move to a better state, and I'm considering Williamson County, where I've had a job offer as a physician. But in my wife and I's research, we found that these houses are extremely expensive, many of them $950,000 to $1.1 million, and I don't know what to do. Would that be a silly idea to take out a mortgage for $450,000 or $500,000 to move to a better location?
Well, let's see what George, you have.
I got the calculator pulled up. So you've got a $500,000 home. You owe $90,000 on it. So you could roll all the proceeds into the new home, which would likely be, let's say after fees, like $375,000. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
And you also have $60,000
plus
in
your
the bank.
$60,000. That's $435,000 down. And let's say the home is $935,000. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
That would give you a $500,000 mortgage. On a 15-year fixed rate with the current interest rate, you're looking at about a $5,000 mortgage?
Yes.
And how much do you bring? How much do you bring home a month?
After taxes, right now, I bring home $14,000 a month.
Would your income go up when you move, or it would be the same?
It would stay about the same. I would make less, but with you guys having a better tax situation, it would be about a break even.
Or a lack of income tax. That's what's up in Tennessee. Yeah, well, I mean, we are, and for the record, for everyone listening, we are in Williamson County, the Ramsey Solutions headquarters, so we know this area well, and it's about $1 million is the average home price right now, which is a lot. People think, well, it's Tennessee. I'm sure they just got double wides over there. No. This is one of the wealthiest counties in the nation, and we think we're worth that. So can you make this move? I mean, $14,000. Let's see. The mortgage I'm spitting out here is about $4,750. And so with our rule of 25% of take home, now is that after tax, but before other deductions like healthcare, 401k, all of that?
That is after all of that. I after 401k, after insurance, everything,
okay.
I get $14,000 a month.
This will help your numbers. So when we say after tax, a quarter of your take home pay, what we're really saying is just after tax, but before other deductions. So put back in your 401k contribution, put back in the healthcare contribution. That should help your numbers. That would essentially make your take home, your after tax income, probably more like $16,000.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So then you take a quarter of that. Well, now we're looking at $4,000 mortgage.
Yeah.
And and the 25% rule, it's just a parameter, Nick. It's not like I'm at 26%, so Ramsey said no. The idea here is you don't want too much of your income tied up in that mortgage to where you can't accomplish the rest of the baby steps.
Yeah, but you're right there. I mean,
I would say you're real close to making this happen.
Yeah, I think you could. And especially if your income does go up over time in the next, year, 2 years, 3 years, just a natural raise, then for sure it's going to, it'll give you even more cushion. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to hit around a $4,000 mortgage would be ideal for your situation. What would the mortgage be, did you say?
About $4,700.
Okay, yeah. So
and that's on a 15-year fixed rate, which is going to put you in a really strong position. And so if I was your financial coach, I'd say, let's start home shopping probably in the $900,000 range and continue saving. How urgent or imminent is this move?
Well, it has to be done pretty soon. I've got 4 kids, which we're funding their college. And I want them to, if we move, I want to do it by school year. So August-ish.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I think you're good, Nick. Yeah, around a $900,000 house is fine.
So if I just to clarify, guys, if my mortgage was around $4,000 or so, you guys think that that's financially responsible still?
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate your expertise.
Oh, absolutely, Nick. And if you want to reach out to a great real estate pro, you can do that at RamseySolutions.com for the folks that we trust. And good luck on the home search. I think right now is actually, like we just talked about, Nick, it's a good time to buy because you could probably get a deal, quote unquote, where if the listing is $950, if you offered $920, they'd probably take it right now.
Right.
And so you can actually do some great home shopping, and that real estate pro will help you figure out the right strategy to make that offer.
Yep. And I'm really confident in these numbers, Nick, because we say it a lot around here, but it's just true. Like our formula to buy a home is on the very conservative end on how most people would be comfortable with 35% of their, 35,
and that's on a 30 year.
40% of their take home pay going to their mortgage on a 30 year. So this is a 15 year at 25%. So it's pretty conservative and you're fitting right in those numbers. So yeah, so you guys will be good. And hope you come to Williamson County, Nick.
Party.
George and I will say hey to you.
I love that.
Come hang out at the Ramsey Solutions.
I could use a primary care physician, Nick, if you're offering.
Oh, that's right.
It's perfect.
Actually, we have some shortage of those. Ken Coleman doesn't have one either, George. So we need
We're both
one.
on the hunt.
Statistics show that half of Americans don't have enough life insurance, or they don't have any at all. I don't understand this, John. Why don't people want to take care of their family? They think they're going to die or something?
Well, I used to be one of those guys. I didn't even think about it. And one of my buddies said, hey, the only reason to not have life insurance is if you hate your wife and kids. And I immediately went and got term life insurance.
That's a gut punch.
And, you're telling me, and for decades, Dave, I've sat across people who've lost a spouse they've lost somebody important to them.
Me too.
They don't know what to do next.
Me too. I mean, you're going to have a crisis here. And, you got two options while you're sitting and talking to a young widow. She's concerned about how she's going to invest all this money properly and not mess this up, or she's concerned how she's going to eat tomorrow.
That's exactly
These are the
right.
two options.
And
take care of your dadgum family, man.
Term life insurance can replace income, pay off debts, cover funeral expenses, so your family can actually have the opportunity to just be sad.
Yeah.
To just miss you.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's saying I love you to your family. Term life insurance. Jeff Zander and the team at Zander Insurance makes it easy and affordable. I've used them personally for 25 years. They're the only people I trust. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282.
If you're wondering if you're staying on track with the baby steps as we talk about this whole plan here on the show with callers, you could take a quick quiz just to check your progress and receive a personalized plan that's just for you. Just go click the show notes and click the link titled, Are You on Track with the Baby Steps? You can do a quick quiz just to see where you are. All right, let's go to Lane in Palm Beach, Florida. Hi, Lane. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. How are y'all doing?
We are doing great. How can we help?
Okay, complicated question. I've been basically living without a budget for my last, my whole adult life. And I've had the ability to make it all happen just because I've worked like a crazy man. But the problem that I'm having now is I have 4 daughters. And they don't want to work like I do. They want to enjoy their lives. They want to have a little balance, and they want to know where their money is, how it can work for them, what it can do.
Okay.
How can I help them?
Okay. How old are your daughters?
The oldest is 24 and the youngest is 15.
Oh, okay.
Are they coming to you for financial wisdom?
They don't come to me for anything other than financial help.
Ah, there we go. It's just Bank of Lane is what they're coming to you for.
Those girls, we can be expensive, know?
Yeah. Okay. So they're not
expensive.
asking to be taught. They're just asking for a handout, essentially, which is how I would be if I was a teenager, too.
Sure.
Correct. So how can I trick them and give them a little bit of help? Do I have to watch them fail?
No. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to get them excited about financial literacy. I think the best way is to listen to them. What are their goals? What are their dreams? And then alongside that, hey, what's the reality of what those goals and dreams are going to cost? Well, let's figure out a plan to help them get there. Now they're excited about their own life instead of just dad going, back in my day, we worked 70 hours a week uphill both ways. That's kind of what they hear when you're doling out financial advice. So instead, be interested in their life and then find out what they're really after. Why do they want this money? What are their money goals? For the 15-year-old, it might be just buying a car. For the 24-year-old, it's, hey, I got to get an apartment of my own. And so they all have different stages of life they're in, and I would try to hone in on that.
Yeah, what's the 24-year-old doing, Lane? Is she working, or what is she doing?
They're all working, which is very good. Luckily they have good discipline like that. But the problem is one moved up north, so I had to basically help her move because she didn't have the $4,000 to move. So I basically, took a week off of work and helped her move. Mm-hmm. And they've all received a car, except the young one. She has not received a car. But unfortunately, I think I kind of spoiled them. I gave them each like a $25,000 to $30,000 car that was paid outright for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I kind of screwed that up. And
no,
it's
you didn't.
fine.
I would drop the shame. You're an amazing dad. I think any girl would be lucky to have you as a dad.
Yeah, and I think it's just
you raise great girls.
Yeah, going especially to the older ones, not as much maybe the 15-year-old, but the 24-year-old or so, and just be like, I don't know, have a conversation with her and just say, I'm so sorry. Like, I have realized now that I have not taught you guys anything when it comes to money and personal finance. And I want to be able to help you because knowledge is what's going to take you the furthest in life. And I want to be able to do that. Do do you have any ideas or any questions for me on how we can do that? And kind of start that conversation with her. And then even Lane, if you want to give her, and we can give you some stuff at the end of this call, some books, if you think she would read or listen to like a audiobook or Financial Peace University or Every Dollar, our budgeting app, some tools to kind of start integrating in their lives, and maybe as a gift from you to them, especially the older ones, giving them some of that. Because sometimes too, Lane, we find with adult kids that having a third party speak into their life with money is easier. So like maybe if she listens to the Ramsey Show or Smart Money Happy Hour.
Rachel's
the other
like the cool older sister on Smart Money Happy Hour. They go, wow, I want to be like Rachel one day. Well, Rachel budgets, so maybe I should try that out.
But having
I have tried that. I've tried that technique.
Okay.
It worked for one, but the other one, when I purchased her a car, and 3 years later she wants a new car, and I'm going like, well, let's think about this. There's better ways. You're buying a depreciating asset. Why don't you think about saving for when you guys want to purchase a house? Because they've seen me, purchase houses, and they've seen me work to get to that point. And I've even told them, I like, principal reduction is your friend, compound interest is your enemy. It's like trying not to have the credit cards, but yet I'm the one that rings $10,000 a month on credit cards, even though I pay them. It's like I'm not listening to what you guys are saying either.
Right. So you're not living it out either, right, is what you're saying.
And
No,
hence
I'm not
you
living
wanting to
it.
start budgeting.
Yeah.
Because, you basically said you've out-earned your stupidity for your entire adult life, and you've just been able to work really hard and go, well, I'll be able to make all the bills. But you're wanting to be financially responsible, not just for your daughters, because we know more is caught than taught, but for your own financial future.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What if you
And
guys,
the problem-
how many are living with you?
Just one. They've all moved out on their own. Which is, that's all I could hope.
So the youngest one you have the most influence on right now because they're under your roof. The other ones, how often do you see them? Is it a phone call here, a FaceTime there, a holiday?
Three were local, but now one moved up to Maryland. So
okay,
and plus I don't think that they respect what I did. They just thought that was my job and I was supposed to do it.
Yeah. Well, a job as a parent is to take care of them. At the extent that you took care of them was a very nice extent. So you want them to be grateful, to be like, oh my gosh, I got you like
took too good care of them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So,
and now they're like, I need a new car. Mine's bad now. It's like an iPhone.
I
it's been
think
3 years.
Yeah. And I think for the older ones, Lane, there's, a lot of having to learn just in the real world, right? If they're not choosing to make right decisions right now, you can't force that. You can't control that, especially with the older ones that are out of the house. And so, again, I think a conversation is totally doable of just saying, here's what you're saying. You're trying to create better habits in your own life. But it's hard. And, telling them, yeah, I get it. It is hard because, Lane, you're even struggling with it, right? We all do to an extent. Like, this money stuff, it's not always easy. But I do think for them, they're going to have to start to learn from their mistakes. You asked that at the very beginning of the call. And now that I know kind of the situation more, there may be a case where they do learn, and that's hard. And as a parent, you don't want to see your kids suffer or struggle. But sometimes it's one of the best gifts. And if they can do that at 24 versus 44 when you finally let go or something, right? Like, that's it. That's good.
And that's where you leading with humility is the key here. It's not you saying, hey, I want to teach you guys some things because I've done it all right. It's you saying, hey, I've screwed up and I tried to give you guys a good life. Here's where I went wrong. I would love for you guys to avoid those mistakes so that you can leapfrog me and get to this point way ahead of me. What if we got a plan to do that? And maybe that's you guys reading a book together, an audiobook, a family Zoom call. I don't know what the vibe of your family is. Figure out what works for you. Maybe you incentivize it and say, hey, I'm going to give you guys $100
but she's
if you
24.
read Rachel's book.
But she's 24.
They're grown adults.
Yeah.
So this is not like a cutesy thing. You have to be like a friend now versus the parent.
That's what I'm saying is I'm like, I think you have the conversation, but then I think the adults have to be adults too, right? There's a lot of people that listen to this show and their parents were horrible with money and never taught them about money, but they've had to figure it out too, right? So
sometimes that's the best motivation is to do the opposite of what your parents did.
Yeah.
And clearly you've done really well, Lane. You're not this like just basket case of financial ruin where they're like, oh my gosh, my dad was terrible with money. He was able to buy us cars and help us fund moves in college and all kinds of things. So I don't think it's as bad as you think, but I do think your approach needs to change to a friend versus a chaperone.
Okay. And because I've never budgeted myself because I get paid so, it's a very odd thing. I work as a, electrical contractor. I get paid maybe 5 times a year, but, they're big jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So I never know when the money's coming in. So I have to have basically a year, and
you need kind of a peaks and
capital.
valleys fund to where you set aside the money knowing you need that to cover the next 3 months.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
And we're going to
Because
gift
it's
you
hard for
every
me
dollar
to-
premium as our gift so that we can actually walk with you in the budgeting. And I'll also send you my book, Breaking Free from Broke. I have a whole chapter called Budgeting is Freedom, where I walk with you through it, give you my best tips. I think those things paired together will help you get on the plan. And maybe your girls will be inspired and go, oh my gosh, look at Dad.
Look at him. Yeah, and like just know that budgeting, it takes about 3 months to get it right. So give yourself some grace. Get through the summer. Try budgeting through the summer. Don't give up if the first budget doesn't work. But hold on the line, Kelly will pick up and we'll get that gift to you.
Hey, what are you still doing here? You know the rest of the show's happening on the Ramsey Network app, right? So you got to jump over there to continue watching. You can download it for free. Just go to your app store, type in Ramsey Network. It's completely free, and I'll drop a link in the show notes to make it easy for you. So if you're watching on the app, you're in luck. But if you're watching anywhere else, this show is over for you. So jump onto the app and let the fun continue. All right. Go on now. Don't make it weird. Okay, I got nowhere to go, so you need to go. Okay, bye-bye now. All right, it's getting weird over there, guys. What do we do?